All right.
All right, we're live.
How are you guys doing tonight? This is another session of DMV Dealmakers. I'm Josh Cohen. This is John Ma. And tonight we're live with Carlos Reyes from All In Entrepreneurs. We're privileged to have him join us live from Sedona, right, Carlos?
Yes, sir. Beautiful Sedona, Arizona. Look at this.
Look at that backdrop.
So if you don't know Carlos is a beast in the wholesaling world. He actually just has a brand new book out. I just read it actually last week. It's entitled The Greatest Wholesaling Book Ever, I think.
No. The best wholesaling book ever.
The best wholesaling book ever. So if you guys haven't read it, go check it out on Amazon.com. Some really cool tidbits of information in there. I enjoyed the parts actually about the call scripts, but we'll get into that later. Carlos, before we get into all this, can you tell us sort of more about yourself, how you got into real estate, the whole 9 yards?
Yeah. So it's very, very simple. I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm an immigrant from Mexico. I was brought here illegally twice because the first time that I was brought over, we failed in California. We failed severely. That's what happens when you have a single mother who doesn't speak English very well and is working the fields. California is a very expensive state to live in. So we failed. We only lasted about 2 years there, back to Mexico. And my mother and I, she's working at a resort in San Carlos, cleaning hotel rooms, and I'm bagging groceries. Why? We're trying to save up enough money to get her back over to the United States of America. So we save up enough money, we get her over here. She starts hitting the fields again, working the fields in 120-degree weather here in Arizona. Saves up enough money to bring me over. She pays a coyote $25 in 1997. I was like 9 or 10 years old at that time, and she pays this guy $25, and he puts me through a hole in the fence. I meet her on the other side, and she brings me up to Phoenix, Arizona. And we immediately start the paperwork process of becoming a legal resident. And I got my work permit first. I mean, this process took like 15 years, guys. Got my work permit first. Then I got a permanent residence card, otherwise known as a green card. And then I became a citizen of the greatest country in the world, after so many years, right? And I personally was, during a lot of this time, I was working 9 to 5, corporate job, 9 to 5 for over a decade. And I hit a ceiling, just like a lot of people do. I'll be quite honest with you. Working a 9 to 5, not only was it a rat race, but I could not get ahead. I could not save up enough money to give my family anything. I have a 7-year-old daughter. I have a wife. I have a 1.5-year-old daughter now. And I just could not save up enough money, man, to get ahead. I would have a few $100 left, after every paycheck. I would get paid every other week on Friday, like a lot of people do. And it wasn't living. It was literally surviving. Yes, we had a mortgage at that time. By the way, I retired my mom and I retired my wife in 2017. Okay, and I gotta let you guys know this. At that time, me and my wife, we got this house in 2014, and before I retired her, because of real estate, by the way, we both had to pay half and half. Like, we were paying half of the bills. Like, I love this woman so much, and I give her the world now because she's been there for me. She's been there through the thick and thin, through the better and through the better and the worst, right? We used to split everything, split the mortgage. The mortgage was only $1,200. My mortgage now is like $4,500, right? So we used to split the mortgage, 600, and split the electric, like a lot of American families do. We split everything. We contributed. We're a family. But I said, you know what? I want more. I want more for my family. This isn't it. Why? Because I was working at this job for over a decade, guys. And after the first year, I got, after the first year, they gave me a week of vacation. And then after the third year, they gave me 2 weeks. And after the fifth year, they gave me 3 weeks. And after the seventh year, they gave me 4 weeks of full 30 days of vacation Well, in order for me to even survive or sustain or even try to get ahead somewhat, I would cash in those vacation payouts. I would never go on vacation. I never called in sick one time. I worked this job for 12 years, 12 years plus. And I never called in sick one time. I would work Monday through Saturday. I would work 70 hours plus. I would work a lot of overtime to make time and a half. I cash in my vacation every single year. And guys, I got tired of it. I got tired of it. I said, I need something else. I need to develop a special skill. My dream was always to have my own business. My dream was always to, provide at a high level for my family. I want to have financial freedom. So I was really scared when I quit my job. I was really scared. There goes your 401k, there goes your IRA, there goes your insurance. There goes the little false sense of security that I had with this job, right? Like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm so secure. I just punch in and punch out and get paid. And it it took a lot. It took a lot for me to leave. What I knew all my life, which was clock in, clock out, and get paid. Right, work my way up, but I just couldn't do it anymore, man. I needed something more because I didn't want to be the father that when my 7-year-old daughter, she's 7 now. At the time, she was pretty much a newborn. I didn't want to be the father or the dad that my 7-year-old MJ. She's 16 years old now, going to high school. Let's just say, in the future, and she says, Daddy, can you get me a car for me to get to school? Well, no, I'm so sorry, baby girl, I can't afford it. I didn't want to do that to my family, man. I didn't want to do that to my family. I didn't want my wife continuing to work just to contribute half of the bills. I didn't want my mother struggling, trying to get cafeteria jobs like she's done all her life. She don't speak English to this day. I retired her. She doesn't even pay her phone bill. I got her house, I got her car, I got her phone bill, I got her insurance, everything. She's taken care of, God willing, if nothing changes, obviously, for the rest of her life. And that's what I wanted, man. I wanted to change, the financial trajectory for not only myself, but my family and for generations to come. I wanted to leave a legacy here on this earth. Life is short, and I'm trying to make the most of my life as possible. When I leave this earth, guys, I went and I answered to the Lord, all right, and I'm in front of God. I'm going to say, Lord, I didn't leave not one drip, not 1 ounce of potential unused. So that's what this all comes down to me. And every day for me, I mean, I still grind like I'm broke. I grind like I'm broke, guys. I grind harder than I used to, and I love this. Why? Because now I'm grinding more effectively. I'm grinding more efficiently. I'm grinding at a higher level. Every move I make equates to significant progress now compared to back then, when I was going through the process. And that's something that everybody here needs to know. Hey guys, I didn't get my first deal until 6 months, 2,400 bandit times later. Allow yourself, embrace the process. You are going to miss it one day. The one thing that I am going to tell people here is you are not a failure because you haven't got your first deal, and you're not going to fail. The only way you're going to fail is if you quit. That's the only way that you fail in this business. Okay, so don't quit. Persevere. Keep beating the concrete. Keep working on your craft. Keep sharpening your axe. Do not quit. The other side looks like this: financial freedom, where you can leave. By the way, it's just me and a couple of friends. I'm here with my self mastery coach. I still do pay for mentorship, by the way, for people out there that are like, oh, mentorship sucks. Well, no, I have 4 mentors, guys. I have 2 spiritual mentors, 1 self mastery growth mentor, and I have a business mentor. So again, this is all part of the growing process. I'm in a different stage of my life now, but what I'm trying to tell people right now is don't quit even when it gets tough. Okay, even when it gets tough and you feel that there's no light at the other end of the tunnel, I promise you this: for the rest of your life you will be financially free, and you will be able to serve so many people just because you made the necessary sacrifices. So continue to make the sacrifices right now, okay? Because the other side is heaven on earth, guys. So that's what I want to tell the people that are watching right now.
That's amazing. It's definitely really, really powerful. So I think most of the people here know you from All In Entrepreneurs. You know that you have your wholesaling company, you're a national cash offer. That's what most people know you by.
We have three different brands for real estate. It's offerkey.com, nationalcashoffer.com, and dineropormicasa.com, which is a Spanish version of offer key and national cash offer.
Right, so it's catered towards a certain demographic. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So so obviously you most people know you by those brands of your wholesaling business, but we can tell you're more than just a wholesaling business owner. I mean, you've got a podcast, a successful podcast. You put out really good content on YouTube. You got a book coming. Your book is already out, and you're doing all sorts of speaking engagements. I can definitely tell you're more than just a guy that's trying to make some money just based on what you're talking about, having faith and having higher power.
Yeah.
I want to know, Carlos, what's that ultimate mission? What's that mission? The end goal?
That's a great question, man. And you know what? I want to tell people this, right? The money, everybody's chasing the money. And how old are you guys? Josh, how old are you, Josh?
Getting too old, man.
Old, brother.
Almost 40 soon.
Okay, almost 40 soon.
Almost
John,
40.
John, how old are you?
I'm 34.
34. Josh, how long were you chasing money before you started making some money? Be honest.
Probably the first 6 years. First 6 years in this business.
No, but you were chasing money your whole life.
Oh, but before that, for sure, yeah.
Right?
For sure, yeah.
Right, John? Out of 34
Yeah,
years, at least half of your life, you were chasing money. We all want to make more money.
Yeah.
Because we know that money's a tool, right? We know that we can serve so much, we can provide a better life for ourselves and our families with more money, right? Money's a tool. It's a very powerful resource. But the fact of the matter is, guys, I'll tell you this much, John being 34 years old, chasing money since John, you've been working at least 15 years, 12 years?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Have you ever had a 6-figure month?
6-figure month. Now that I'm in real estate, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Not in real estate yet?
No, now that I'm in real estate, yes.
Okay.
But
okay.
outside of that, no. I mean, I was
at a day job. Josh, you ever had a 6-figure month with real estate, I'm saying?
Yeah, we have a successful business, yeah.
So you guys are partners?
No, I run a company here locally called DC First Properties.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make my point very simple, right? So we spend 80-90% of our lives chasing money. And then when you start making money the way that my business partner Sal and myself started making money, our first 6-figure month was July of 2016. We haven't ever had less than a 6-figure month since then, right? We're in 2020. It's been almost 4 years, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, when we first hit that 6-figure month in real estate, because now we have 26 plus businesses from, solar company, which is solarfuse.com, to medical companies, medicalsurplus.com, nationaldiabeticsurplus.com, to digital marketing agencies like Magnus Digital. And we have so many different across the board in so many different ways, right? So we spent all this time in a majority of our lives chasing money. And once we start seeing crazy money, like 6 figures go into your pocket, after you dump 80 to 90% back into your businesses, you're still putting away 6 figures in your pocket. At first, it's quite thrilling. It's quite thrilling and it's quite fulfilling, right? It feels like an accomplishment. First month. Second month, you're like, yes, I did it again. Third month, you're like, okay, well, this is good, right? We're doing good. Fourth month, you're like, okay, what's going on? Like, what else is there? You see? Right. What else, right? And that's kind of what happened with Sal and I. And I want everybody to know here that I pray that everybody that's going to listen, that's either listening now or is going to listen to this episode, that they understand that you may have a false sense of what exactly you may be after. Okay. Now, I'm after higher purpose, right? I'm after higher purpose. I'm after higher consciousness. I'm after like really serving. I see what's happening in not only in the real estate industry, but in the influence industry. I see what happens at that high level where people are just there for a check, as many people are. right? So let me just say this. You know, my goal is to be omnipresent, because if I'm omnipresent, I can reach more people. And if I can reach more people, I can impact more lives through the Lord. That's my goal.
Interesting. So your first business was wholesaling though, correct?
Absolutely.
I gotcha. And 4
Oh
years.
no, brother, that's still that's our baby. That's still our baby. That's our bread and butter. You know, we have more team members. I don't call them employees. They're my team members. We have more team members in our wholesale operation, in our wholesale operation, than we do in any other business, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Whether it's business development for all in, all in education, all in ENT, whatever, Magnus Digital, the solar company, the medical company. We have more employees, more team members in that company than we do with any other company. That's our baby. That's our bread and butter. We're never, God willing, never going to leave that business. Why would you ever shut down a profitable business,
Sure.
especially when it's systemized and delegated? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, no, I would never shut down. I'm never gonna shut down a business that's profitable. Never. Never. So that's still our baby. That's our bread and butter. We have switched our model a lot. We went from wholesaling 95% of properties that we would acquire to now we're probably taking down 30 to 40% of the deals that we actually acquire through, we got private capital. We've raised a lot of money over the past 2 years, and we're taking down a lot of these properties. Now we have a completely department. It's called the asset management department. We have an asset manager. His name is Jaden Pudney. He handles the contractors. He handles the project managers. He handles, the listings with the realtor. He handles he oversees the transaction. He's not a transaction coordinator. We have two TCs in the company, but he does oversee the transaction, make sure everything is good when it's, when the processing is happening. But that we had to evolve, right? We had to evolve. We had to adapt with the current situation that we're in, and we pivoted just right. We pivoted just right. We adapted just right, and our whole, we got an entire army behind us, and they were able to adapt just fine. So praise the Lord for that. We're moving in the right direction, and we are extremely, extremely hopeful and enthusiastic for what's to come our way.
So Carlos, are you building a rental portfolio then? Is that what's going
You know
on?
what's crazy, brother? We actually went the opposite direction. We had rentals in Vegas and Phoenix, and
Mhm.
we started dumping them in 2017. We started dumping them, started getting cash, started building more businesses as assets.
So the 30 to 40% that you're acquiring currently, what's
Fix
the
and flips,
oh,
the exit strategy.
fix
So
and flips. Okay.
the exit strategy for us is straight fix and flip. We have a criteria. We have a criteria for these properties. We're taking on a lot of cookie cutter where we're in and out under 2 weeks, right?
Mhm.
So we're taking on a lot of that, and we are in and out. We're listing. We're getting over asking price. We're getting multiple offers within 24 to 48 hours. We're not having a problem selling any properties. The retail market is completely on fire. I've been
Mhm.
reading a lot of articles from a lot of different mortgage providers. They're very hopeful of what's happening. I can tell you exactly what's happening. We already had historic low inventory levels prior to COVID-19.
Yeah.
Once COVID-19 hit, 70% of listings were canceled. So that created even more of a shortage in inventory. And the demand is pretty high right now for these retail single family residents. Now, I will say this: commercial real estate, the commercial sector is going to drop to its knees. I don't know if it will ever recover. A lot of folks through this crisis have really they became aware that they don't need all this overhead. They don't need to work out of an office and they're paying five, six, eight, 10, $12,000 a month for, right? So that's going to really change the overall dynamic of the commercial sector forever. Forever. I do not see commercial bouncing back ever, unless it's maybe the hotel industry, something like that.
Yeah.
Airline industries, I don't know if they'll ever bounce back. If they do, it won't be anything less than 24 months. Cruise ships, again, guys, this crisis changed everything forever, and people are not even aware. 40% of businesses probably will not reopen the doors. A lot of the businesses that are active right now, they won't last through the summer. Um, a lot of Americans, and I'm just prophesizing here, okay? This is something that, in deep prayer, the Lord spoke to me on a Sunday night at 11:30, 11:38 or 11:37 p.m. And I reached out to what I call my board of advisors, which are, some of my mentors. I immediately reached out and say, hey, guys, the Lord is giving me this message. I needed to call you. It was already like 3 a.m. their time, they're in Eastern time. And the next day they said, brother, you are absolutely right. They started sending me all kinds of different intel. And you heard it. I think this is the first show that I say that on. This is the first show that I'm telling you this. And I want you guys to keep the recording and send it to me. So when all this starts to melt and go down, again, guys, it's a very unfortunate situation. A lot of Americans don't even know this, but a lot of folks won't be getting their job back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are stepping into a digital era. This accelerated the process of transitioning into this digital era. And what I want people to know right now, people that are listening and people that are going to listen, I want them to know the following. If you do not develop, if you don't already have or develop a special skill or a trade, you are going to be in a world of hurt. So there's no better time. It doesn't have to be real estate. All right. It doesn't have to be real estate. It can be anything, but I'm telling you right now, you need to develop a special skill or trade, or you're going to go hungry. The WFP, the World Food Program, they're expecting to have catastrophic numbers this year. Literally over 260 something million people will be experiencing starvation around the world. That's double the figures of last year.
It's crazy.
This is true. And I'm not a fear monger. I don't even like fear. I don't even like talking or feeling fear. I'm just telling you what's to come and what's around the corner for a lot of people. And I'm talking 45 to 120 days max. And people really need to move. I see people golfing. I see people playing on Netflix, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, guys, no, do not. Like, what are you doing? You should have taken this time, these two little checks that the CARE Acts and the government is providing for you, the $1,200 stimulus and whatever they're working on now. You should have taken this time to really develop a skill, because you're going to be in a world of hurt very, very soon. And you know what? I don't wish that upon anybody. May God intervene and have mercy on all of us. But the fact of the matter is, people are going to go hungry. There's going to be famine. I was talking to a guy here in Sedona that works the valet area. He's like, brother, I was out of work because I like to talk to people. I don't like just the perspective of like where I see it, right? Like from a business perspective and I'm doing okay. I got multiple, eggs in multiple baskets. I don't like that. So when I asked this guy, it's not just about me. I said, hey, brother, so how have you been? I asked, literally today in the morning, God's my witness. Hey, how have you been? He's like, it's been rough, man. I'm like, what's going on? How long were you out of work? 2 months. He's like, what happened? He's like, do you have kids at home? He's like, I got 2 little boys. I'm like, you didn't let them know what was going on, right? And you didn't let them know that you were hurting, right? He's like, no, I didn't, man, but it was tough. I'm the first guy they called back, and I am so blessed and so grateful. Guys, that's what's around the corner.
So, Carlos, I've seen you talking about this is like a reset. This whole COVID-19 is a reset for maybe the global economy. I mean, we're seeing an inventory shortage here in Washington, D.C. as well, especially at the, under $1 million price point. Over $1 million, the luxury market's getting a little bit slow. But where do you see this coming, 3-6 months out from now? Where do you see this market headed?
The luxury market, if it's not already struggling, it's going to continue to struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to continue to struggle. Single-family residences, anything that's affordable, guys, it's going to thrive. It's going to thrive now more than ever. If you think about it, let me get out of the sun for like 2 minutes, right? It's getting hot. It is hot over here. So now more than ever, folks are going to need their quarantine cave. Now more than ever, people need houses to work out of now, because everything's changing. So there's a crazy there's a crazy shortage in inventory, and we don't seem to be gaining any ground with this inventory shortage, guys. So I really do believe the single family residential sector is going to thrive. It's gonna boom. Now I can't guarantee 12 months from now, 24, but right now, short-sighted, I do see it's gonna thrive. Commercial is in really bad shape, guys. I'm talking plazas that used to rent out to tech companies and blah blah blah, right? They're in really bad shape. A lot of people, it's such a catastrophe to watch that this 99.34% survival rate pandemic forced this kind of change on the world. This is one of the biggest mistakes the world has ever made, guys, right? It forced this kind of change. And now, think about it this way. For the longest time, we as human beings were programmed to get up, get in our car, drive to work, into a building, be there for 8 hours, do this, get in the car, come back home, right? That's going to change. That's going to change forever.
Absolutely.
Literally, this pandemic is forcing change, and it forced a lot of business, a lot of different industries to see, well, wait a minute, maybe I don't need all these employees. Oh, wait. Oh, maybe I don't need an office. Huh. I'm a restaurant owner, right? Let's just say I'm a restaurant owner. I'm not a restaurant. I don't own a restaurant. I would never own a restaurant. Or, it's most fail. Most fail within the first year. But let me just say this. I'm a restaurant owner, and I still kept, the takeout, right? The takeout service. No more dine in. I'm like, oh my God. I cut Joe, Mary, Susie, and whatever, and I'm still sustaining my profitability. And I have less headaches. I don't have to do dine-in. I don't have to deal with scheduling. I don't have to deal with hiring. I don't have to deal with customers. So now guess what? Yeah, those people are going to lose their job, right? The car industry. Think about the car industry for a second. Less cars on the road equals what? Less demands. Less demand. Less demand equals less employees, right? Less demand equals less production. You see? Less production equals less employees in those factories. So, guys, this is a huge domino effect that we're being forced into, and we're you put on your seatbelt, man. We're in for quite a ride here, and we just got to keep our faith. We got to keep our faith, and we got to keep pushing, and we got we got to do what entrepreneurs do. We that's what separates the separating factor between great entrepreneurs and mediocre entrepreneurs is our ability to adapt, our ability to keep our eye on the ball, and our ability to stay on our toes for whatever life throws our way. We're there, and we're ready, and we embrace it, and we move forward. And that's what's going on. If you can see who's thriving during this crisis, is that exact character, right? That person, that profile of, hey, I'm not going to let this is nothing. I'm going to keep pushing forward no matter what you throw at me. And those are the people that are going to make it in this world, in this new digital era.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting that, what you just said, because a lot of people are just kind of waiting for the quarantine to end, and they're like, oh yeah, we can't wait to go back to work. Right. Well, the world's going to be completely different once that happens, But yeah, so we got a lot of people logging in here. We got a lot of people here on D&B Dealmakers asking questions. Let's see what some of these people are saying. So Antoine's asking, I might have missed it. Will residential real estate face a crash? It was sort of touched on that. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. So there's no better time to be in single family, in the single family residential sector. There's no better time. Now the game has changed. Right? Why? Because now you got your little tire kickers and habitual flippers that used to do this. I'm a doctor, but I want to flip a couple houses this year, right? Yeah, those guys are like, oh, I'm not. I'm gonna just sit it out. I'm gonna wait in the sideline. So we lost a lot of cash buyers, the guys that weren't players in the first place. It's hard to get those guys in the game right now. That's okay. There are still super solid cash buyers, people that have seen 1, 2, 3 recessions in their lifetime, right? They're still out there, but the game has changed. The game has changed. You have to understand there is a shortage of inventory. If you have the resources to raise private capital, if you have the resources to take cookie cutter homes down, homes that need paint and carpet, and they go back on the market. If you have those resources, that's where the game has changed. That's where you're going to increase your profitability like you Couldn't imagine. So that's what folks need to understand about what's going on in the single family residential sector. That's where the game is. That's where the play is right now.
Absolutely. We have someone else asking, what can a single wholesaler that does 2 to 3 deals a month do to scale? I'm assuming the context is in this climate.
I would do some reverse engineering. You have to understand this, right? So what are the objections of moving these properties, right? Hopefully it's not that you locked it up for too high. So getting that out the way, right? Getting that out the way, I would lock up properties between 40 to 60 cents on the dollar. You know, the days of us sell, yeah, that's where we're at. So 40 to 60 cents on the dollar. I would reverse engineer. I would call all cash buyers, right? You can even go to cashbuyersplus.com, download thousands of names, cash transactions, names, phone numbers, emails, get a VA to filter these cash buyers out. Hey, how's it going, brother? I'm reaching out to you from such and such. Just wanted to see if you were still actively, acquiring properties right now during this present time. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am. Okay, sounds good. I'm going to add you to our VIP list. So you have your VA, go through that, create your own script, whatever, right? Simple questions if they're still active. Identify who's still active, who's still buying as a wholesaler. Okay, so I still got a good solid core of 30 to 50 to 100 solid cash buyers. Okay, so that's good, right? You can also do, like I said, do some reverse engineering. Okay, so what am I facing? What kind of objections am I facing from some of the cash buyers? Well, nobody will lend to me. Okay, well, let me see what lenders are still lending, right? Okay, so I got 10 lenders that are still in the game. They're good. I call Steve. Hey, Steve, you want to pick up this property? Man, it's right up your alley. This is the area you like. Well, Carlos, I really can't find any lending. I mean, I got a little bit of cash. I got enough cash to, put down and renovate the property and hold it for 4 months, right? Okay, hey, Steve, I got great news for you. Here are 10 lenders that will give you cash. Sounds good. Well, let me get back to you. Let me talk to them. I got you, right? So now we're doing some reverse engineering. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you just got to get creative. You got to get creative, guys. Again, the beautiful part about the single family residential sector is that people are always going to need a place to live. That's never going to change.
100%.
Carlos, what markets are you working right now? Where
California, Texas, and Nevada. I'm sorry, Arizona too, obviously. But California, Arizona, Texas, and Nevada. We pulled out of so many different markets, guys. It just wasn't worth it for us. See, a lot of different markets, you can consistently land deals, but the average deal size isn't what our staff, our acquisition managers are accustomed to. So I'll give you an example. San Antonio, average deal size there's probably between 7 and 12,000, right? Mm-hmm. Our guys are like, I don't want to spend my time and energy into that deal when I can get a California wholesale, a wholesale fee of 30, 40, 50K, right? So that's kind of why we shifted. It was more for our people because, you can't go broke making a profit. I was totally okay with being in San Antonio and being in some of these other, sub markets and B and C markets. I was okay with that, but I got to please the guys, the hunters, the acquisition managers that are bringing the food to the table.
I gotcha.
Yeah. And real quick, so just to give you context, Carlos, so here in the Washington, D.C. area, it is a competitive area. We do have relatively large spreads that say somewhere between 30 and 35,000 as the average. So what we're seeing in our market, as far as the investor side, is a lot of inbound marketing is just completely dead for a lot of businesses here, for wholesalers and investors. Is that something you're seeing in some of the markets that you're in virtually?
Absolutely not. So
really?
Cold calling is it's more effective than it ever has been. Cold calling is more effective than it ever has been. We have 25 agents. We used to have 30, but Jason over at callgeeks.com, Jason handles all that. He's like, hey brother, you don't need 30, 25, it will be enough for the markets you're in and the records that you're giving me, etc. So he's a very ethical person. I'm saving some money with that. They managed to land over 110 deals last year for us. They already were, even with this whole situation going, they're already past, let me see, hold on. It was 32 deals in the first quarter. They're close to about 45 deals right now. So Cold calling is at an all-time high for us. So our top 3 marketing strategies right now is cold calling, SEO, search engine optimization, and pay-per-click. We go through magnusdigital.com for pay-per-click. We go through Dave at magnusdigital.com, and the guy's been absolutely amazing. I really feel like he single-handedly has helped us build this company from scratch, because when we started doing pay-per-click with Dave back in 2016, that's when we had our first 6-figure month. And we've never had anything less than that ever since, thank God. So those are our top 3 right now. We haven't, we were, for quarter 2, quarter 3, we were scheduled to send out over 100,000 units in mail, but we decided not to because of what's going on. So we are still going to test mail for, instead of sending 100,000 units and just kind of, just shotgun marketing approach, we're going to shoot out about 20,000 and see what happens, just to beta test it.
Do you have a pulse on sort of what kind of sellers are selling right now in COVID-19? Has it changed at all, or the same profile?
So what people need to understand is, one thing is, if you're going after owner occupancy, that's a really tough list right now because people don't want to move.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you're going after, probates, inheritance, 30, 60, 90-day late list, vacant property owners, absentee, if you're going after all these properties where people don't actually live in the houses, 30% or more equity is what we do. We're seeing some very, very good results from that particular strategy.
That makes sense.
Yes, sir.
John, you got the next question here.
Yeah. So, so we watch a lot of your content here. I think a lot of people in the audience do. One thing we really
thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the way you speak, it's just very captivating. You definitely have that leadership aspect to you. And one of the things that you're always harping on is company culture. I would assume that's part of the reason why, the part of your success is probably the company culture.
Absolutely. Let me touch on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm getting excited with this question. I'm getting excited. So if you read Principles by Ray Dalio, right, this guy's a genius. Not only is he a brilliant economist, but he's a genius when it comes to building organizations. And he simplifies I would say the goal or the objection or the objective of building a great organization is literally, it comes down to 2 components: people and culture. And let me tell you this, when I would say 80 to 90% of real estate companies, they shifted and they started working from home. Is that correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who's going to win? Guess who's going to win? Guess who's going to beat those people?
The ones that
folks not working from home.
Boom. Boom. Why do you think we bought a building in December? We bought a building for all of us to be under one roof. How can you create culture from home?
You can't.
So do you want to dominate this industry or not, right? If you're under the same roof as all your team members and you got all kinds of, different, you got, let's just say, what are those called? Different incentives, right? You got spiffs every week. You got different incentives with trophies, to the top closer and the top revenue producer. And you got, team, like team getaways or, team builders that doing whatever you guys do, even if you come up to Sedona and spend a little bit of time together, whatever, right? Culture. That team is going to be so much better than the other team was like, hey guys, it's our Zoom Monday morning meeting. Hey Josh, why are you eating Cheetos and you're still in your underwear? Have you even brushed your teeth today? Right? Who do you think's gonna win?
Not the guy in the Cheetos.
Not if I'm walking in, and by the way, as leaders, we set the example. We are mom and dad in the building, right? So it starts with us, it ends with us. Our people listen to everything we say. They look at everything we do. They look at everything we wear. They look at the way we operate business. And that's what they become, right? That's who they become. So of course I want to be in the building next to my warriors, next to my army, right? Leading from the front, Of course I want to do that because I want to beat the other people that are sitting at home, watching their son and watching, seeing if they're calling a lead. How can they really fully focus and concentrate on the business? And they have all these distractions at home. Wife, kids, whatever else is going on. Landscaper just came by, pool guy, whatever. So that's going to be, guys, that's one thing that you guys should definitely, God willing, take into account here moving forward is the companies that are going to thrive during this time are the ones who still have culture.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, we were at home. Virginia was locked down for 8 weeks now. And like productivity was,
Yeah.
So we all got to be back in the office now.
When my people were at home, I put them on hubstaff.com. I had my CFO literally watch their performance and productivity. See, I have very high expectations, very high standards for anybody that's even near me. You gotta really bring it. Like you have to like this is the way if you guys have watched me closely over the past whatever months or years, I'm like this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like this all the time. Like I expect you to be the best version of you. That's it. I don't want no bullshit excuses. I don't want none of that. Right? If anything, I prefer the truth. Hey, you know what, brother? I didn't get it done because I was I messed up. I was doing something else. Instead of like, well, no, it's too hard. I don't want that. Right? I want the truth. So I have very high standards. You can talk to any of my team members, anybody that's in our organization. Have you ever watched? I'm not Michael Jordan by any means, but have you ever watched The Last Dance with Michael Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's who I am in the office. I expect I will shit on you if you're not doing your job. Right? Indirectly in a nice way, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's just say like my man John, right? John Sutton, I got a guy that works with us. If he the minimum goal for my guys is to get 5 deals, right? Let's just say the guy gets 2 deals and I'll say, hey John, yeah, I remember the first time I got a deal, John. I'll just say like little remarks like that to kind of get them going and like, oh man, this guy's shitting on me. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that, because they know I'm walking around. I want to know what they got going on. Hey, John, how's Instagram today? I see you've been on that phone quite a bit. You see, so I'm like that, man. I don't care. I call them out, and I'm not trying to be an asshole or a dick, but winning is the only objective for us. That's it. We are committed to excellence, brother. We're committed. We have core values that we have to abide by. So if you can't handle that, then you don't have to be part of this team. So that's how I run my operation.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, that's a really intense, you just got a really intense personality and, very authentic communication. You're just very straight and direct. I'm willing to bet that really rubs off on people.
It does.
Well, creating leaders out there. And that's your other message. You're always talking about creating leaders, even within the organization or just being a leader of yourself.
You'll never scale. If you have a big problem for a lot of human beings, for some reason, their deficiency is leadership. For some reason, either they don't want the extra stress of maybe developing or nurturing another leader in the organization, but they'll rather work till they're 60 because they don't want to deal with that. You see what I'm saying? You see all these guys in the industry going and like, they're going to their flips, right? They're still making calls.
Mm-hmm.
That's because they don't have any leaders in their organization. I'm a CEO. I am a CEO. I have a CFO under me. I have a COO under me, Roxy, obviously my CFO, Brittany. And then I have a sales director who oversees the entire sales operation, acquisitions, junior acquisitions, right? Adrian Salgado. Like, I didn't start this to be a slave to a job. I'm a CEO. I started this to actually buy some time, and I'm willing to give away percentages of my company, right? Oh, you just landed a deal? 7%, baby, right? Yeah, I'm willing to do that so I can actually be doing what I love, right? Operating at a much higher scale and being a lot more productive with my time. For everybody out there if you take pride in making phone calls, yeah, I did too in 2016. You know, like those days are over for me. I'm a CEO. If you can develop leaders in different departments within your organization, you are going to be working until you're 60 years old, and then the company's going to die when you die.
It's a powerful message.
Couldn't agree with
Absolutely.
you more.
Yeah.
Carlos, how do you identify leaders? How do you cultivate a leader within the firm? Like, what does that sort of process look like? I mean, we're dealing with people here, and you and I both know how people are. I mean, some prosper, some fail, some listen, some don't.
Leaders care. Leaders care as much as you do, brother. So there's a lot of intrapreneurs out there, which is amazing, right? Like my CFO, Brittany, I don't think she ever wants her own company, but she's amazing at what she does, right? She's a leader in our organization. She cares as much, probably more. She probably cares more. I mean, it feels like it because like I said, brings me the books every week. Goes over quarterly, monthly and quarterly statements and meetings or P&Ls. I'll give you another example. Tino Hernandez. If the sales guys, the business development side, he runs the business development for All In. If they're shitting the bed, he's on them, right? He cares. He's like, oh man, what's going on, right? Adrian Salgado, same thing. If the guys ain't bringing food to the table, if they're not closing, acquiring deals, he's on them because he cares, right? Excuse me, Jen and Putney, by the way, I don't want to leave his name out there. He's our asset manager, and he oversees the entire disposition department. Dora, which she oversees the transaction coordination department. So the way that it breaks down, it's like this. If you hire people that really care, then you can, if you see that, like, wow, this guy really cares. So ownership, people that take ownership, right? Work ethic, people that have work ethic, because you don't want to be, we got to let go of the vine, but we got to let go of the vine, with wisdom. We got to let go of the vine to the right people, right? We're not going to leave our babies in the wrong hands. And then what took us years and years and years of hard work and millions of dollars to build, we make a couple of wrong personnel decisions and it's plummet, right? It's plummeting. So work ethic, ownership, right? Dependability. You see, these are some key factors to look for in people. If you can see that in people, then you grab those people and you mentor and you nurture and you scale those people. That's what I would look for in your personnel with your staff.
How would you inspire someone who I believe anyone can be a leader. Anyone can, step into, that powerful persona. But
it's nothing you're born with. You're right. It's nothing you're born with. It's something that's developed over time, willingly or forcefully.
How would you inspire someone who just tries to play small, just tries to stay out of the limelight, right? You know what I'm talking about?
I would challenge them.
Uh-huh.
I would challenge them. I would challenge them and I would beat on them and I would challenge them and I would challenge them until I get them out of that bubble.
Right.
Challenge them often, challenge them often, challenge them hard. Either every day, every other day, stay on them, accountability, stay on them, push them, make them uncomfortable. Make them uncomfortable. And then we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. And guys, this is it's not just, within the context of business or within an organization. This is just people in general. I mean, this is applicable to just people anywhere out there, creating leaders.
Absolutely. If you guys remember this, if you cannot create leaders, remember, I don't know if you guys knew, we interviewed Grant Cardone July of last year.
I remember that. Yeah.
I asked him, say, hey man, how do you create leaders in your organization? I don't. He said he doesn't.
Yeah.
The guy's maybe he's a great businessman, but if you can't create leaders, again, is his brand going to die with him? More than likely.
I was wondering about that answer that he gave you actually that day.
It was a very, very weird answer, right?
It was.
He's like, I challenged him. I said, hey brother, how do you create leaders in your organization? I don't. I do strategic partnerships. I cannot. You can't. How can you? You'll never scale. Like, how can I have 26 businesses if I don't have leaders in my organizations? Right? I have different leaders. I don't handle solar. Alan does. A guy we hired Alan. He's the CEO for that company, right? I don't, we don't handle specific, other people do, medical surplus, my wife handles that, you see? So again, if you can't develop leaders in your organizations, in your organization, and you can't develop leaders within within your sub companies of that organization, you're going to be in a world of hurt. You're going to be in a lot of trouble. You're going to be a slave for the rest of your life. And, the kids ain't going to get to see mommy and daddy as often as they would, they would like, because, all kids care about is time. How do you spell love to children? Time. Right? So all they care about is time. They don't care how much money you make. They don't care if you're a CEO. They don't care how many businesses you have. They don't care what you drive. They don't care how you dress. They don't care what's happening in the world, COVID and the economy, right? They don't care about that. All they care about is your time. Well, you're never going to create margin for that time if you don't have the ability to teach and build and grow other people in your organization. You're not going to create the margin, and you're going to be very miserable.
That makes a lot of sense. Carlos, how do you incentivize your leaders? Are you like a firm believer in profit sharing, or what sort of structure have you put in place?
For us, it's very simple. It's salary. It's a straight salary plus commission plus bonuses. So they are very well incentivized. Remember when I said I don't mind giving percentages of the company just to have more time?
Sure.
Right? Yeah, we're not technically profit sharing. Well, we technically are, I guess, right? Because they're making commission, right? So, but it's not like we have. It's not like we're dividing the company. We're offering, like I said, salaries, good salaries to those that, if you have, just like any team, I don't care if it's in business or sports, if you develop a good solid core of dependable, hardworking leaders, you are going to win, right?
No.
So you have to incentivize those people. You got to take care of those people that are taking care of you. So we incentivize them in that matter, with salaries, with commissions, and bonus structures, quarterly bonus structures.
I gotcha. That makes sense.
So we got some questions rolling in, Josh. Do you?
Yeah. You want to take one? Any thoughts, Carlos? This is from Tina Hughes. Tina, how you doing tonight out in Manhattan? Tina's asking Carlos, do you have any thoughts on New York City real estate?
I'm not familiar with what's really going on in New York. From what I hear, it's like, it's kind of ground zero, right? It's ground zero of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But again, the strategy and the message doesn't change, right? It's low inventory, high demand, especially now that a lot of businesses are going remote. People need housing more than ever. And that's the other thing that never changes is they need somewhere to live, right? But again, I will repeat, commercial real estate, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not an economist, but I'm telling everybody right now, economy's going to drop to its knees.
Absolutely.
So you're thinking the economy will drop to its knees?
Sorry. Commercial and a lot of the economy you have, commercial. Sorry, I'll say that again. I do apologize. It's getting hot out here. I'm sorry. Right. So I'll say this again. I don't have a crystal ball.
Right.
I'm not an economist, but commercial is going to drop to its knees. I don't know if it will ever recover, and a good portion of the economy is also on the way down. But the single family residential sector will have a slight boom. It will thrive because of everything that's going into effect here in the next 45 to 120 days. I will say that.
So Carlos, I mean, in 4 years you've blown up. Can you talk us through? We got people in the group tonight that are of all different experience levels. Some are new. Some have done a few deals. Some have done a lot of deals. Some have been around for a year, some have been around for 10 years. Can you explain, like, how did you grow your team, from year one? What did that, what members did you add? How did that look?
So it's a very easy question for me. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
First and foremost, let me just say this to anybody that's new out there, guys. Please go grab our book. Go grab my book. It's $4.97 for a reason. I'm not gonna get rich off the book. I think I make 12 cents off every copy. Okay, so go grab the book. It's better than any $1,000 course out there. $4.97. Josh, you saw we didn't leave. I don't think we left anything out. Let me know if I did. Okay, so if you're new,
No, I think you did a fantastic job.
thank you, brother. Thank you. That was my project, and
We're,
I absolutely put everything I had into it.
we're gonna post the link. We're gonna post the link, Carlos, to your book as soon as this call's up. We'll post the link so people can check it out.
Thank you, brother. So, anybody that's new, the first thing you need to focus on is getting your first deal, right? Knowledge is power only when it's applied. Do not get analysis paralysis. Don't, if you read my book, start taking action, massive action, start making rough draft moves, period. If you're already landing a few deals, you're landing 2 to 3, it's time to start building. It's time to start building a company. It's time, right? It's time for you to actually call yourself a CEO. Right now you're just an employee. You're just a high paid employee in your company. So you got to start building an organization. You got to start building a company that's going to outlive you ASAP. Okay. That's what I recommend. Now, for me, it was very easy because of the corporate background that I come from. I was in a management position for a very long time. So for me, it was hiring, training, right? Having different onboarding processes and training manuals and things like that, dealing with, different people's personality and things like that, right? So for me, it was very easy to really start putting the pieces together because of my experience. That's why. And my first hire came in 2017. After, because I was doing everything for a while. Sal was doing the books and he was doing all the systems and integration. I was doing the acquisitions. Sal was doing the marketing too. I was doing acquisitions. I was doing transaction coordination. I was doing dispositions. I was out, putting out bandit signs. I was going to appointments. I was doing everything. I was cold calling off Mojo in 2016. I was doing everything. I worked every single position in the company, right? So I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. No matter how much money you paid me, I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life, right? I wanted to create some margin for myself and my family. So my first hire was an acquisition manager. He's our sales director now. He was our first successful hire. We've been through hundreds of people. Not everybody's going to work out, guys. Not everybody's going to work out. Just like anything else, there's going to be a lot of trial and error, and you're going to make some mistakes with your personnel, but it's worth it. Stick with it. Don't give up, and make sure that you have a good eye for the people that you're bringing onto your team.
That makes sense.
Wow. Okay. So obviously you had huge success in your wholesaling business. What kind of I guess personal projects or what you're doing with the brand right now that you're doing to kind of get out your message here? Building leaders, building company culture, just people doing better. Obviously, you got your book that came out, obviously, but what else are you trying to do here? What other projects you have going on?
We're working on so much. We're working on so much. Like, people actually, they always ask me, like, how, right? How do you handle all this? How do you handle 26 plus companies? How do you handle all these team members? You're being pulled left and right. I didn't even know our podcast. I thought our podcast was yesterday. Remember, like, my schedule is crazy, and it's it's whatever. But how do you handle it? Capacity. I try to create more capacity in here and here, right? So success will never outgrow the person you are. So you have to create more capacity for yourself. You have to create more capacity. You have to continue to grow. So I handle that. And with that being said, we're working on so many different projects, right? We're working on we're working on a dialer next con. That's gonna absolutely demolish Zen Call and call tools. just demolish it. We're working on it's called it's a huge project. It's called Prospect X. You can build in Prospect X, and remember what I told you, because you guys are going to see this thing just go crazy soon, right? So Prospect X is you can build your CRM there. You can build a website in there. You can do your marketing out of there. I mean, you can do your dialing out of there. It has everything, right? So we have so many different projects in the works, fellas, and I'm very blessed to even have the opportunities to be involved with some of these things. So for that, I'm very grateful to the Lord.
It's wild.
Carlos, amazing story. I know you're sort of like this rags to riches story. Can you tell our viewers one other thing? Like, how do you pick the markets that you work in? Like, what are you looking for? It sounds like you're working in 3 states right now. Like, is there a certain type of demographic, certain type of property?
One of the first things that I like to look at is cash transactions, right? And guys, we've been in 12 different markets. We're reduced now to literally Riverside, LA County, you got Bakersfield, San Bernardino, LA, Henderson, Phoenix, Dallas, Fort Worth. That's it. We're done. Those are the only markets we're in right now, right? So what I like to look at from these markets is I like to look at cash transactions, right? I like to see how active people are. Is there any traction there as far as fixing and flipping, right? I like to look at that. I also like to look at average days on the market. I like to look at average days on the market. Anything below 70 days to me is a good market. It's a good market to move into. So those are 2 of the major components that I like to look at. I also like to look at, average household income, and I like to look at average average price point, right? I like to stay under 400,000 in most areas. Again, luxury is very difficult. Your pool of buyers is very slim, and your qualified and retail buyers are very hard also. You're not, especially now, right? Minimum requirement, 20% conventional, etc. So those are some of the components that I like to look at before I expand into a new potential market.
Can a market be too competitive? Like here in Washington, D.C., it seems like we're all sort of, last 2 months, we're all sort of fighting over scraps on deals here, it seems like.
Well, the problem with competitive markets, I'm in a lot of competitive markets. I just named some of the most competitive markets in the country, right? With LA, California, Phoenix, where Phoenix is like the guru capital of the world, right? You got Shantae, you got Cody Sperber, you got, if you want to call me a guru, I'll be a guru too. I prefer to call myself a duru. I'm still doing this business. So you can't see this. Our wholesaling concept comes down to 2 things, right? Our operation comes down to the 2 components: marketing and sales. So whoever has the consistent marketing, right, and the budget to market, and whoever has the closers or the salespeople, those are the teams that are going to win. Period. Marketing and sales. If those two areas of your business are strong, you're not going to struggle on beating the next person. You're not. Marketing and sales. That's what our business is.
That makes sense.
In terms of closing a deal virtually, I know a lot of people right now, they're still solopreneurs, they're still, closing deals on their own. And a lot of people are kind of right at that edge of perhaps maybe hiring an acquisitions guy. Now, I think a lot of people have this belief that, you hire an acquisitions guy, he may not be as effective as you are. Let's say, you replicate 80% of you. How do you kind of get across that?
That's enough.
Volume?
That's enough. If someone can replicate 80% of my sales skill set, I'm okay with that. I'm happy. Because you have to understand, right? I decided to create margin. I decided to let go of the vine, right? If they're 80% to what I am, I'm okay with that. We're still gonna win. So you have to know. You have to know when to let go of the vine. And I'm not telling you to immediately delegate. If anything, this guy should be shadowing you 24/7. That's what my first successful acquisition manager did. If I was on a phone, he was there with me. If I was going to an appointment, he was going with me. So that's going to take 3 to 6 months. But you know what? You have to set this person up for success. Because guess what? That successful acquisition manager that I trained, he is our sales director. And he's brought millions of dollars to our table. And now not only does he bring his own deals still to the table, but he oversees our entire sales department. So it's worth it to put in the time now rather than later.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I got to ask you this question, Carlos. Everyone says you should have like a unique sales proposition as a company. If you're competing against, and like we are on a daily basis, 10 other, cash buyers, what do you recommend to someone out there who's in the same situation? What is their unique pitch? Or
what makes you different? How are you different? How are you different from the rest? Right? Mm-hmm. How are you different? Well, I'll give you an example. Some of the things that we've been able to do in our company in the past was we provided, moving expenses. That boosted our acquisitions by probably 20%. Provided moving expenses. I don't mind paying somebody $2,000 to move if I'm going to make $50,000 on the deal. Right? How are you different? And guys, keep in mind, the team with the best players is always going to win the game.
Yep.
Because a lot of folks we're all doing the same things. We're cold calling, we're sending mail, we're doing pay-per-click, we're doing, it doesn't matter, RVM, SMS, etc. It doesn't matter. The team with the best players is gonna win the game, period.
All right. So guys, we're live here with Carlos Reyes, All In Entrepreneurs. If you got a question, we're almost out of time. Please post your question so we get it answered. I got a little light question here. So who's gonna win the Closer Olympics, Carlos?
I'm a judge, so I plead the fifth. I think there are several people there that have a really good shot. I really do believe Adrian Salgado, obviously, you can call me biased, but I've seen this guy work, right? Mm-hmm. I've seen his skills, in the front line. I see Keith Everett, he's definitely a potential. I see, Andy Garcia, Alex's guy. He's definitely a potential. I see Steven Morales. He's definitely a potential. Mm-hmm. Chris Jefferson. He's definitely a potential. Nick Luevano. I think he's pretty solid. Even Donnie's guy. He's solid too. Antonio. It's hard, man. I think it's going to come down to sometimes the circumstance. The seller side. Because a lot of these guys they have so much skills when it comes to acquisitions. It might come down to the seller, So I can't wait. It's going to be exciting to see how this goes down.
Awesome.
Real quick, talk about the Closer Olympics. There might be some people who may not be familiar with this.
So if you go to closers with an S Olympics.com for $97, you get to see a tournament style acquisitions tournament or contest where people are going to go head to head, and they're going to be making random calls to random lists, to other people's lists, and they're going to be judged on a certain criteria. They're going to be judged on their opening approach. They're going to be judged on their ability to build rapport. They're going to be judged on their ability to negotiate. They're going to be judged on their ability to actually close the deal. So they're going to be judged on the projected revenue for that deal. So it's going to be exciting, man. The criteria is really a good breakdown.
That's awesome. I came up with that. It's really cool.
Yes, sir. Yeah. $97, by the way. $97.
Okay, not bad. We got a question from Andrew. Says, thanks for the podcast. Quick question for everybody. What are the most important values that a new investor starting out can bring to an experienced one? So I think this is in context to what you were saying earlier about how you're different from someone else. I guess his question is framed around how can a newbie bring some sort of value compared to somebody else?
If you're looking to align yourself with that particular person and learn and kind of be under his or her wing, and maybe some type of mentorship structure, bring him value. How can I serve you? Bring him a deal, split it 50-50, whatever. That information and that knowledge is priceless. But what I will say is be very careful who you do that with. Vet these people. You have to do that to to servants, right? So if I'm going to serve you, I'm looking for you to serve me too. This has to be a bilateral relationship. So that's what I would do. I would bring a massive amount of value, because everybody always wants to take and take and take, but nobody ever wants to bring value and give, right? So that's something that I would focus on.
Yeah. What about in terms of talking to a seller? How would a newbie stand out compared to everybody else?
Ask the tough questions. Ask the tough questions. Be genuine. Care. Become family. Become friends. Make a friend. Create a friend. Right? Ask the tough questions. If you ask the tough questions, you'll get the real motive behind the transaction. Right? Yeah, everybody wants money. That's just part of it. There's something deeper than that. And you got to, whoever gets to that first wins.
Right, right. Cool. I've got a really interesting question, and hopefully it's not offensive in any way. But what are your thoughts on the info product business, selling seminars, courses, mentor coaching books?
I think I believe most of them are disgusting. Most of them are disgusting because they're selling recycled. You know, they're not really doing the business, or they didn't. I don't know if they ever did the business. That's why what did I just say? I said you have to vet people, right? The most expensive thing you'll ever have to pay is who you pay attention to. Think about that for a second, right? I don't have a problem with education. Why? Because I was educated. There was, I went to Sean Terry's event. I went to, I watched a lot of webinars and read books from Nick Rees, and I even got on a few Periscopes when Cody Sperber was doing it. I don't have a problem with education. I have a problem with people being unethical. People selling dreams, crushing dreams, taking money from people and not serving them. That's where my problem lies with these disgusting, fraudulent posers.
Yeah, you're quite passionate about this topic. I think it was last weekend you made a live talking about fake gurus, and you're talking about calling some people out.
Brother, it's not right. How can I tell you how to build a company if I haven't built one?
Yeah.
Right? How can I tell you where to market, like where to spend your marketing dollars if I don't have KPIs, and I'm not tracking my KPIs, and I'm not even doing marketing myself anyway, right? I'm not even taking the risk of even creating a real estate operation, but I'm going to sit here and tell you how to do it? Absolutely not. Yeah. And that's what 9 out of 10 people are out there doing right now.
Absolutely, especially look at
dig deeper. Yeah, you got to dig deep. It's disgusting.
Like, all these business coaches out there on Instagram, I mean, majority of them, their only business they ever had is that coaching business, which is hilarious.
These instapreneurs, brother, they don't have a brick and mortar business. They've never put out any type of work, real work. It's easy to close a person. That person is vulnerable. That person just wants better for themselves. Well, here comes the guy, right? Hey, I can help you make X amount of money. Pay me this much. Here you go, Mr. Educator. Oh, I'm sorry. I've never really done this business, but I saw Carlos's course and I went to his freedom event, and I'm studying other people in the business. So let me just tell you what they're doing. But wait a minute, I paid you for your experience and your knowledge. Why are you giving me recycled information? You don't even do this business. Why are you coaching me? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
So Carlos, what's the 10-year vision?
Whatever God has in store for me, brother. I stopped making my plans. God just laughs at them, right? God laughs at my plans. All I ever wanted in the first place was like, hey, I'm going to create a business just to get out of the rat race. God laughed. Right? He's like, no, you're not. You're going to do something much bigger than that. I just can't show it to you or else you'll crash. Right? So I'm sorry, brother. If I can just stay on God's path and serve as many lives as I can, and continue to try to set the example, be omnipresent and impact as many lives as I can, even if I can change it, even if it's not monetarily, even if it's just by the way of thinking or the way they treat their wives or the way they treat their children, right? The way that they see themselves. that's enough for me. I just want to make a great impact on this world. So I want to leave my imprint on this world, God willing.
I got you, man. I got you. I've been listening to you now for probably a couple of years. You know, you're the real deal.
Thank you, brother.
I agree with like 99% of everything you say.
Where's the 1% you don't agree with? Let's talk about that.
That's a good question.
Let's talk about that for a second. Oh man, you know what? Thank you, by the way. I really do appreciate you for that. And I just want to say, hey, listen, you know, in this journey, brother, we're not going to please everybody. You want to please everybody, go sell ice cream. And if somebody's ice cream melt, they might come back and like, you know, curse at you anyway. So you're screwed either way.
Carlos, we'll leave this one. When is the next All In Entrepreneurs, or is there going to be one in 2020?
I want to have a digital event, a digital momentum, right? Make it a 2-day event, make it much cheaper and affordable for everybody. The momentum event really changes people's lives, and it teaches them how to actually go from like hustler to CEO, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it also, the most important thing is it really dives deep into the what not to do's. Don't do this, don't do that, that failed, don't spend money here, right? We just want to save everybody a lot of pain and a lot of time and wasted dollars. So that's what Momentum does. And I want to do a digital event, a 2-day digital event here, probably in the next 60 days, God willing.
Awesome.
Looking forward to that. Definitely.
Yes, sir.
Please keep us posted so we can share with our audience here.
Absolutely.
Carlos, how can folks reach out to you? What's the best way to be in touch?
It's very easy. So Instagram at Carlos Reyes, obviously. Thank God I own my name. There's, you know, Mexican people, we're not very bright when it comes to picking out names. We ran out of names very quickly. Carlos Jose Juan Mario, right? I'm just joking. I'm just happy that I was able to lock down my name on Instagram at Carlos Reyes on Instagram. And obviously even here on Facebook, man, I'm not as active on Facebook as I am on Instagram, but I'll definitely try to do my best to get to it. I also have a group. It's called All In Wholesaling, and I go live on there a lot too. So those are just some of the platforms that I operate in.
Amazing.
Awesome. Carlos, final thoughts?
Final thoughts?
Final thoughts are with you, man.
I'll just say this to anybody that's watching or anybody that's going to watch this. Don't give up. You know, life is a war, and you're a warrior. You know, you have a choice. I'm either going to be a warrior or a victim, and a lot of battles are going to come your way. You may lose some battles, but as long as you win more battles than you lose, you're going to be victorious. And don't ever give up, because I didn't. And, you know, I'm glad that I didn't. And I'm sure my family's glad that I didn't, obviously, starting with my daughters and my wife. My mother's glad that I didn't give up. I'm glad that my mother didn't give up. And now society, right, our industry might be happy that I didn't give up, because I get to serve a lot of people. So, you know, this is bigger than just ourselves. So don't give up.
Guys, I'm Josh Cohen. This is John Law. We've been talking to Carlos Reyes, All In Entrepreneurs. Carlos is living the American dream. Thanks so much.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks so much for tuning in tonight, guys. Have a great night.
God bless you guys.
Here's treat, Carlos.